I have spent the better part of the last 3 weeks building out the Fantasy Life rookie supermodel for wide receivers, and through all of that intense research, combing through all of the data, there is one name that unexpectedly just popped off the page in my research, and that is Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, Dwayne, Marvin Mims is expected to go in the third round of an NFL draft. We know draft capital is the most important thing, and first and second rounders have a better hit rate, and you would be right. But that's what makes Mims so interesting. Despite that third round capital, he is still grading out in our model right next to players like Jalin Hyatt and Zay Flowers, who are expected to go in the second round. And here's the kicker with Mims. Just to see what would happen if he did get second round capital in the NFL draft, I used that as an input in the model. And guess what? He shot all the way to the top of tier 2. In fact, he was only 1 percentage point below the tier 1 threshold cutoff for players like Quentin Johnston, as well as Jordan Addison. So you're probably asking yourself, why does the rookie supermodel like Marvin Mims so much? Well, let's dive in. First of all, while Mims never quite reached that 30% dominator rating, he did reach a 24% mark as a freshman, and the model really likes players that do big things early in their career. And staying on the theme of doing really impressive things at a young age, Mims is only the second true freshman ever since 2014 to eclipse a 4.00 yards per route run. And while Mims was very impressive early on, he also finished strong as a junior with a 28% dominator and a 2.65 yards per team passing attempt. Finally, Mims is a vertical threat with big play ability. For his career, he had a 16.7 yard average depth of target, which is actually in the 79th percentile for wide receivers drafted since 2017. This is a player that can truly stretch the vertical boundary of the field. And while earning those targets downfield does matter, also being able to turn your targets into explosive plays is really what we care about the most. And he is the second best receiver in the class behind Jackson Smith and Jigba in that regard, and ranks in the 83rd percentile for wide receivers drafted since 2017. In short, the model likes explosive playmakers who broke out early in their career, but also finish strong. Now, despite all of those positives, there are some things that are negative about Mims' profile. After all, there are reasons why he's expected to go in the third round of the NFL draft. The biggest knock on Mims is he was never a high-end target earner. As a junior, he did register a 23% target share, but even his career targets per route run at 22% are slightly below average for someone that we would expect to excel in a big way at the next level. The other two negatives with Mims really showed up on film for me, but don't necessarily match with the data. Despite some of that downfield prowess, he really appears to be more of a build-up speed guy. And actually, his 40-yard dash splits showed that. He had a 4.38, which was great, but over the first 10 yards, he was really below average. The second thing that I notice is on a lot of the underneath targets, Mims goes down fairly easily with first contact. He has enough speed to really take away some angles, but he's not a major tackle breaker. While Mims' profile isn't flawless, he's also not a finished product. He will only be 21 and a half years old when the NFL season starts, and the data tells us we need to keep an open mind about what his upside could be at the next level. Mims' best fit at the next level might be inside from the slot as a vertical threat, a la Christian Kirk, who, guess what, is one of his top comps in our model. Mims is a great target right now in rookie drafts. He's coming off the board as the wide receiver 7. You can typically get him in the second round, and if he gets that second round capital, he's truly going to climb up the board. In best ball drafts right now over on Underdog, Mims is coming off the board in round 16. When we think about the upside that we've just talked about, that's certainly something that you shouldn't ignore.